Well, Lebanon finds itself in the whirlwind of the Iran war. Over 2,000 people have been killed in Israeli strikes across Lebanon since America and Israel first launched a war against Iran on the 28th of February. Israel and Lebanon are set to hold the first bilateral negotiations since 1993. The discussions will take place in Washington, D.C., where Israeli and Lebanese ambassadors will sit across the table to resolve the outstanding issues. The meeting will take place at the U.S. State Department. Apart from American and Lebanese envoys, it will also include the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, his senior advisor, Michael Needham, and the U.S. ambassador to Lebanon. Now, hours before this meeting, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon expressed hope for peace and normalization with Lebanon. He also added that there are no disputes with Lebanon, and the only problem is Hezbollah. Both sides have agreed to talk, but Israel is seeking Hezbollah's disarmament, and Lebanon wants to establish a ceasefire agreement. All discussions are centered around Hezbollah, which remains the most powerful militant group inside Lebanon. It doesn't just hold guns, but also enjoys significant political support within the country. Hezbollah remains defiant in its resistance against Israel. The group's chief, Naim Qasim, has equated negotiations with surrender and asked the Lebanese government to pull out from this meeting.
نحن نرفض المفاوضات مع الكيان الإسرائيلي الغاصب.
This negotiation is an act of capitulation and surrender and would strip Lebanon of its strength. We call, while the opportunity still exists, for a historic and heroic stance by cancelling this negotiating meeting.
إلى موقف تاريخي بطولي.
Hezbollah is a crucial part of Lebanon's security and political structure. The group traces its origins to the 1982 Israeli invasion of Lebanon, which was aimed at removing the Palestine Liberation Organization from the country. Hezbollah holds significant influence over the Shia-dominated areas in Lebanon. Remember, it is often referred as a state within a state with its own army. Hezbollah's political wing, called Loyalty to the Resistance Bloc, holds 15 seats in the Lebanese parliament. A majority of them are located in northern Bekaa Valley and south Lebanon. These areas bordering Syria and Israel. The group is also a crucial part of Iran's axis of resistance. Remember, it launched an attack on Israel in retaliation to the assassination of the late supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei. In response, Israel launched ground and aerial attacks across various locations in Lebanon. Israeli tanks, troops, and aerial assault vehicles are operating deep inside Lebanese territory. Prime Minister Netanyahu earlier ordered to expand the buffer zone inside Lebanon. Israeli forces are now operating in the areas south of the Litani River. Diplomatic engagement in Washington, remember, comes as a sign of hope, but expectations of any major advances remain low at the moment. Israel has refused to discuss any ceasefire with Hezbollah, the force that remains outside Lebanese government's control and influence.
White smoke was. Yeah, can you see a tank around there, mate? Because it looked like.
All right, let me welcome Matthew Ho, Associate Director at the Eisenhower Media Network. He's joining us live on the broadcast from North Carolina. Matthew, thank you very much for sparing the time to speak with us. I want to start by asking you what your expectations are from these talks. There is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu who says that Hezbollah must disarm, and that is one of the conditions that he says is going to be there if you want the strikes on Lebanon to stop. The Lebanese government, of course, is domestically under pressure from Hezbollah. Therefore, what are you expecting in these talks?
Well, thank you for having me join you. I think essentially the Lebanese government is going to get a talking to in Washington, D.C. The United States, of course, is not a neutral arbiter here. They're not a moderator who isn't also a participant, if you will. So I think what is going to happen is the Lebanese government is being brought to Washington, D.C., to make it clear that the Americans are on the side of the Israelis, and that through whether it's inducements or it's punishment, so either a carrot or a stick approach, and I'm sure the Americans will use both, that the Lebanese government needs to hew to the American and Israeli demands and put the pressure on Hezbollah that the United States and Israel has been demanding of it for many years. So I think that's essentially what the outcome is going to be here, is going to be a Lebanese government that is being pressured by the Americans to go along with the Israeli the Israeli goals here, and again to put that pressure onto Hezbollah.
And how much of that pressure would actually work, do you think, on the Lebanese administration, considering the fact that Hezbollah is, a strong political and militant force within Lebanon?
Well, that's the issue here, right? Is that you do have a Lebanese government that is the legal government of Lebanon. It's a de jure government, but it's not the actual de facto government in many parts of the country, particularly, say, in southern Lebanon or eastern parts of Lebanon. So you have that real issue where the Lebanese government just simply cannot tell Hezbollah what to do. They simply don't have that power, haven't ever had that power. It's inconceivable to think that they will have that power. And so this gets to the great danger of all this, that this propels Lebanon into greater fracture. So say the Americans and the Israelis are able to put either, again, enough pressure, whether that be inducement or punishment, carrot or stick, on the Lebanese government actually attempts to act on that in order to comply with the American and Israeli demands, and that then pushes, internal fighting within Lebanon, right? I mean, we all are sitting here under the cloud, under the history of Lebanon, the reality of that civil war, the civil war that gave birth to Hezbollah. So I think that's the real great danger here, is that any type of pressure, if it's successful and it causes the Lebanese government to act, that you would then potentially see internal Lebanese fighting.
So help me understand this, Matthew. One of the biggest sticking points as far as Hezbollah is concerned has been their disarmament. That's what the Israeli and American camps keep on stressing on. Other than that, because Hezbollah hasn't really ever agreed to that, to disarmament, but other than that, do you see anything else emerging as an off-ramp?
No, and there is no possibility of Hezbollah disarming, because Hezbollah views disarmament as surrender. I mean, the only other off-ramp would be the withdrawal of the Israelis from southern Lebanon and the end of both the Israeli ground occupation as well as their aerial bombing that has been consistent over Lebanon all the way through Beirut for the last couple of years. And I mean, that seems about as likely as Hezbollah disarming. So you have here an Israeli government that views this war in Lebanon, the opportunity that has presented to it through the larger war with Iran, but of course all the conditions of the region, including the way things have, including post-October 7, 2023. So the Israelis are in this position where they say, why give this up? This is the best opportunity we're going to have. You have to remember that the early Zionists advocated for Israel to extend through Lebanon. And if you look at the maps of what those who are in favor of Greater Israel, which includes essentially at this point the entire Israeli political establishment, both the current government and its opposition, maps of Greater Israel extend not just up to the Litani River, so 20 kilometers or so into southern Lebanon, but all the way up to Beirut. So you have this issue here where I think for both sides, both the Israelis and for Hezbollah, there's an element of existentialism here, right? There's an element of, for the Hezbollah, if we give up our weapons, that's essentially surrender, that's capitulation. And for the Israelis, if we don't pursue, if we don't take what we can now, we may never have this opportunity again.
All right, let's wait and see how this moves forward and what really comes of these talks today. I'll leave it there. Matthew, thank you very much. Pleasure speaking with you on WION.
Thank you.